We are
Chester,
live.
Anton, and Rodney are already here.
Chester, Anton, and Rodney. Whole squad's here.
Yep.
Well, welcome everybody to Adams Polish's Wednesday live video. So today, this week, we're doing another request. So last week, we had a request on headlight restoration, which we went through. Now this week, I can't remember who asked it, but somebody asked to see comparing
Cadillac XT5.
what?
Cadillac XT5.
Cadillac XT5 asked to see the difference between Rinse Aid and H2O Garden Gloss. So I have both the products here. And actually, just FYI, Rinse Aid doesn't come with a sprayer. I put that on there because I'm actually going to show you my favorite way to use this, which you just put the sprayer straight on there. But it's not outlined in the instructions or anything. So, you know, take it for what it's worth today. But if you want to use it kind of the way that it's instructed, there's instructions on the bottle, but also I would say our Rinse Aid video that we have on our YouTube is a really good resource on like how to dilute it, how much, this and that. It's a very highly concentrated product. Um, so yeah, I will say this: these two products alone are some of my favorites in the Adams Polishes line. Reason being is they make the process more efficient, a little bit better. You know, adding protection to your vehicle. You don't always have to ceramic coat your car. I know we talk about it a lot, but you know, you could get away with protecting your vehicle with either one of these products as long as you do it consistently. You would never even have to put a ceramic coating on your car. So just food for thought. I mean, I think for detailing, especially like at your house, figuring out the routine that you love the most and then stick with it, because if it's something that you love, you're going to do it more often. So, you know, if you're going through these long drawn out processes of ceramic coating, even though the results are incredible, sometimes it's just a little bit too much. And, you know, someone like myself, like I said, I like to use the spray coating because I love the benefit of it, but I'm actually using these products quite a bit throughout the year. You know, that's including in summer and in winter. So, uh,
And does it matter if the car is coated or not for you to use these products?
doesn't matter if the car is coated or not if you use these products. The answer is no. There's actually some SiO2 or silica inside of these, so it will actually support a ceramic coated vehicle, whether it's graphene or not. You know, those are silazane based coatings, but they have some SiO2 in it. So any other SiO2 product that goes on top will adhere and work with it. And actually, just so you know, a lot of the maintenance products we provide here at Adams Polishes, including graphene infused, are SiO2 based to work with ceramic coating. So that's everything from graphene detail spray, graphene CS3, regular CS3, H2O Garden Gloss, Rinse Aid. So these I would consider kind of in the maintenance for a ceramic coating, but you could also use them as a standalone protection agent as long as you're doing it consistently, like I just talked about before. So, um,
Trevor Johnson says, "What's up, guys? I've been using Rinse Aid on our new semi trucks that I haven't had the chance to polish and ceramic coat yet, and it's been amazing. They look great, and the hydrophobics are great."
oh, sweet. Well, again,
Chester Thomas says, "Check your email."
I'll check it again, Chester. I think I actually read it. I just never responded. But yeah, I think that's cool that Trevor's using this product in like a more, you know, I would say like business setting, because he is a farmer. I could keep going on about how great Trevor is and his son Clyde. Clyde's a super cute kid, and he has another kid. So second edition, which is cool. But anyways, uh, this car actually, we've been doing a photo shoot on this car, and as we were working on it, it was actually like pretty flat, which is gonna help showcase these products pretty well. But I washed this car yesterday. If you actually look at the other side, we put VRT on the tires so that they look really good. That side probably looks better than this side because we were prepping it for the photo shoot. But the one thing I will say about these products is that they are going to work best on a car that doesn't have a lot of bonding contamination. So this car, could probably hear it, but ooh, that's hot. It needs to be clayed really bad. So I'm gonna just rinse it off because I cleaned it yesterday. So there's just a little bit of dust and dirt, but I'm just gonna do a quick clay mitt on this really fast to like prep it for, and actually this is kind of part of, I would recommend the first time you use these products, I would actually do what I'm about to do. So obviously like wash the car, but I'm just gonna rinse it off really quick. Then I'll foam it. And then I'll do the clay mitt process. I have a bucket to utilize, but this does seem kind of crazy because I'm gonna start on the sunny side. I don't need to do the other side. I also have the deionizer working. So let's just like check it really quick. Let me find this thing really fast. I want you guys to see when it comes to like a deionized system. You can stay there, Chris. So with all the deionizers, this TDS meter comes with any deionizer you purchase from us. TDS EZ, probably easy means it's easy to use. TDS stands for total dissolved solids, and it will measure the ppm, and ppm stands for, what is it? Parts per million, which is essentially measuring the minerals that are inside of the water. So with the,
it measures the minerals in ppm.
Yeah. And so you put some in. So I took the cap off like this. Okay, take this off. Put water that you're using inside the cap. Turn the meter on, and you put this in here like this. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see that.
Hold still.
But what does it say, Chris?
That would be a 3.
So that's 3. Okay. So what I want to show you, the water coming out of this has 3 ppm. So 3 ppm. Now, if I come over here where there is no deionizer, turn this water on.
You said this meter comes with all of our deionizers?
Yeah, the meter comes with the deionizers. So the reason why we provide it is because it allows you to monitor the life of the resin inside. So the resin inside of the deionizer is what filters it. It will get overloaded with minerals, and then you need to replace the resin. And when this gets above, I think, I'd say 50 to 100 ppm when measure it with this. If it says 55 or up to 100 or more, you want to replace your resin. So I just want to show you with water coming directly out of the hose. This is not deionized water whatsoever. When I place the meter inside of here, you can now see where it's at now.
Not fantastic.
Well, so I just want you guys to know, like, I'm using the pressure washer, which is connected to the deionizer. And so for me, I'm not starting in the sun. I don't really care. Normally, like if I was using non-deionized water, I would start in the shade and work to the sunny side. But
by the way, it's Mark Dressel's birthday.
It's Mark Dressel's birthday?
Yep.
Well, happy birthday, Mark Dressel. That's exciting.
Detailing SNS asked if you could just, they were looking away when you read the ppm of the tap water.
Oh, the ppm of the tap water coming directly out of the hose spigot was roughly around 290 ppm. The ppm coming out of the pressure washer, which is connected to deionizer system, is 3. Okay, so we're roughly 287 ppm less. I just want them to see this really fast. So I want you guys to see the deionizer system. We at Adams Polishes don't sell this system right now. So we have 3 Pro units tied together, tethered together.
We sell each of the 3.
We sell one of these. So you can get 1 Pro unit. It's the most expensive because it has the most resin and the tank is the largest. We also have like a really small one like this. We have our standard size one. Then we also have a dual bed system as well. So, so just so you know, I mean, we've been running these for quite a long time. There's a lot of washing happening here at Adams Polishes. But just as of recently, I want to say like a couple months ago, we switched out the resins in all of these. So that's why it's just running at 3 right now. So it's pretty good.
Rodney says his tap water is 400.
Yeah, 400.
So he always uses the DI.
When I was doing we did a really comprehensive video about our deionizers, and kind of like, we sort of put it in a way of like, which one provides the most value over time. And as I was doing that research, you know, I learned that if water is ppm of 500 or above, you can't drink it. Like legal regulation is it has to be under 500. So, you know, and I'll just say this: if you wash a car with 300 ppm in it versus you wash a car with 400 ppm in it, the water spots are the same. They're not any different, you know. But once you get below a certain level, then that's when you can get into the spot-free rinse. And that's why I say, like, kind of from, say, like 75 and below, you're still like kind of good. You'll still see a little bit, but ideally 50 and below is ideal. So like having it at 3 is pretty good, actually. So not pretty good, it's really good. So so I'm just gonna rinse this off, and then I'll foam it, and then we'll do the clay portion. Okay, so I'll just get the loose dirt, dust, and grime. Like I said, I washed this yesterday, so pretty solid right now. I'm going to take the top of my foam cannon. I'm going to take my bottle of, first off, I'm just going to dip this, put some of this in here. Give it 3 squeezes. Then I'll take the top off. Like this. Foam cannon directly on because it has the threads for a 16-ounce bottle. I've talked about that a bunch of times. Okay, then I'm going to turn this counterclockwise as far as I can make it.
And that does what?
It regulates how much pulls the straw from in the bottle. So right now, this should be water. So when I go counterclockwise, it will just be water only. But you'll notice as I start dialing this up, then the soap hits and comes out. Okay, so I'm about probably 3/4 of the way turned clockwise. So now what I'll do is I'll foam this on here. Don't need a ton of foam, just kind of like that. Okay, set this aside. I'll set this aside. And now I'm going to agitate the suds inside my kind of wash bucket, even though I washed already. This is more for the clay mitt. Like that.
Esther says throw one of those foam cannons in my mystery bucket.
Haha. I would love to do that. I wish I made them. I would hook you guys up so good. You have no idea. Okay, so
That's probably why they don't let you make them.
yeah, exactly. I know. We would lose money for sure. Okay, so I'm just putting the clay mitt in here, and now I'm just gonna go over the surface. And this is a process I actually personally do quite a bit throughout the year, probably every like few months, is I use the clay mitt on my car. Like kind of during the washing. So like in the way that this would work is I've gone through, washed my car completely. Okay, so that's, you know, rinse it, foam it, use the mitt on it, and then the wash mitt, yeah. And then after I rinse it off, then I re-foam it like I just did, and use the clay mitt as the foam as the lubrication rather than like needing a clay lube like detail spray. And I personally like this process like when I'm doing like a maintenance clay job, because the clay mitt is more of a fine grade type of clay. So for when you're doing like maintenance clay, you don't need to be as aggressive, you know. And also what you want to do is sometimes when you use specific kind of clay, it can mar the surface, you know. So what I'm trying to avoid by using the clay mitt is avoiding getting marring. Yeah, you can really hear it up here.
Yeah, I can hear it on the mic.
But avoiding getting the marring, you know, so you keep it looking nice, but you're removing the bonding contamination all at the same time, you know. So claying during washing is probably one of the most efficient ways to, you know, maintenance clay your car. But the clay mitt is more of a fine grade, so it doesn't mar when you use it. I will say, like, any clay can mar if you don't have enough lubrication on it, and that's why, like, the car shampoo I really like as using like a clay lube. So that's how you clay during the washing. So now we're at a point where you can use Rinse Aid and H2O garden gloss. Okay, Rinse Aid and H2O garden gloss are used after your final rinse of your washing process. Okay, and because not that it matters because I'm using deionized water, but just for everyone at home, I'm going to pretend like I don't have deionized water during this. Okay, so and this is going to be a good discussion around like Rinse Aid and H2O garden gloss. So number one, Rinse Aid is you deliver it to the car in two different ways. One way would be to shoot it out of a foam cannon or a foam gun. Another way would be to dilute it into a bottle like this and spray it onto the car. And after you deliver it to the vehicle, then you rinse it off with your pressure washer. Okay. Now, when it comes to a day like this, which finally in Colorado, we're starting to have a streak of good weather. It's about 72 degrees out today. Barely any clouds in the sky. So it's beaming down here. So you can see the soap's drying very fast. So anytime you put protection on a car and it dries really fast, it causes streaks because the water evaporates into the air and then the protection stays on the car. And then when you try to wipe it, it just moves the product. It doesn't actually go into the towel or whatever you're using. So my recommendation on a day like today, where it's 70 degrees plus, is to not fully foam. I'm not going to say foam. I'm sorry. Do not fully use Rinse Aid out of a foam cannon to put it on the whole car before you start rinsing it off. It's going to dry too fast to then once you rinse it off, you won't notice it. And then when you go to dry it, then you'll notice all the streakiness all over it. So when it's really hot and you're in direct sunlight, I highly recommend working in sections, if that makes any sense at all. And for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to take my foam cannon, you know, rinse off a section, then connect a foam cannon, apply Rinse Aid, then disconnect the foam cannon and then rinse it off. It's just like too much happening at once, if that makes sense. But
About,
go ahead.
clay mitt, Joseph says roughly how many uses do you get out of clay mitt?
How many uses do you get out of a clay mitt? As Adam would say, and I would say, too many. You can pretty much clay 20 to 25 cars with a clay mitt. You know, it's very resilient. And the thing about it too is like you should be using it not on a car that is really bad with bonding contamination. Like it's a maintenance thing. So, you know, you're not taking off as much bonding contamination as you would like a car that's never been clayed. You need to pull that inside and use medium grade clay and then polish it, you know. So yeah, you can get quite a few around. And I'll say this, any form of clay. So that clay mitt, after you get to a point of you've been using it and it looks like the clay material starts coming off of the clay mitt, that's when you need to get a new one. Okay, clay bar, as a lot of you guys know, is when you're using a clay bar, when it gets contaminated on the surface, you stop claying, then you stretch it out and you fold it onto itself, incorporate the bonding contamination into the actual clay bar. Then you flatten it out to where you want it and then you keep going. When you go to stretch it out to fold it, If it breaks immediately, you need a new clay bar. It means it's contaminated with too much bonded contamination inside the clay. So those are the two ways to know when you need to get a new clay mitt or clay bar, if that makes sense. So I kind of talked about so I'll show you really quick. So we were talking about rinse aid in the foam cannon. So I'm going to set this aside. I filled this up to about, I don't know, I almost call it like 32 ounces, maybe. Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
32.
So when you use rinse aid in a foam cannon, you put 2 to 3 ounces of rinse aid with water inside of the foam cannon. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to add rinse aid to where it gets to the 35. Okay, so we just pour this in.
And why do you screw the foam cannon directly into the car shampoo but not into the rinse aid?
Okay.
To be more diluted.
Yeah. The reason why I don't screw why I do it with the soap and not with the rinse aid is that I have a very clear visual of how thick the foam is, and how thick the foam is determined by how concentrated it comes out of the foam cannon. So like with car shampoo, like as I dial it up, as soon as I get to the point where my foam thickness is where I want it, then I just stop turning it. With rinse aid, it's a lot different. You don't get this foaming feature from rinse aid. It comes out milky kind of, and it's really hard to see how much I'm diluting it. So instead of putting the foam cannon directly onto rinse aid, I would dilute it into the foam cannon canister and make sure that the dilution ratio is correct. Because if I over concentrate it either out of the foam cannon or into my foam cannon canister, I run the risk of it drying on the surface, and then it becomes more streaky. So to be honest with you, if you wanted this system, like you could essentially have your car shampoo bottle or Megaphone, I don't really care what soap you use, and you could use the top of the, like, let's just say it's like this kind of, right? So I'll take this off really quick. It's a little bit messy. I'll set that in there. So imagine that this was on here earlier. And what I did is I already diluted rinse aid into my canister, so I could just like set that aside. Then I put the foam cannon on top of here, use it, okay? And then I would clean the foam cannon straw and everything off. Then I would take the canister like out of my cabinet that's diluted with rinse aid, and now I'm ready to go with this. If you only have one foam cannon. If you wanted to do it different where you had like your soap in one foam cannon and your rinse aid in another, then you would need to get two, but I don't think it's necessary.
Detailing SNS has a good tip. They said, also side note for the clay mitt, do not store it against plastic. It will dry and stick to that plastic.
Yeah, there you go. Good. Thank you for that tip. Okay, so on a cool day, like if it was overcast and it was about 60 degrees outside, I would say you could use the rinse aid in the foam cannon and like rinse the whole car off, then apply rinse aid to the whole car, and then go back, rinse it all off, and then it would be good to go. Okay. But in this case, I'll just show you how the rinse aid works in there. But what I'm also going to do is dilute rinse aid into this spray bottle as well. Okay, so I'll take the top off of this. And again, I have it in ounces. I'm not going to go all the way to the 28 because I'm right at the 24. And this is again about, I don't know, I'd probably give it 1 to 2 ounces maybe for this one. So I'm just going to go a little bit higher just underneath the 28 ounce mark. Yeah, I went to the 28 on accident. Doesn't matter. It's all right. And then I'm actually going to put this sprayer back on here because I want to show you guys my trick that I learned recently that is not in the video and not on the bottle. Okay, so we shake these up, get the rinse aid all incorporated with the water in there. Okay, so I'll show you the foam cannon version first, and then I'll show you the diluted spray bottle first or second, and then I'll show you my secret tip third. Okay, so I'm going to start back over here. I'm going to work in sections this way so you can see the different applications of rinse aid, and then I'll do H2O garden gloss towards the front of the car. Okay.
Maybe repeat, but it's fine that the soap is dried on.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about it all the time, but like the soap is completely dried on the car, and it's totally fine. Like that's one of the key features of all of our car soaps is even if it dries on the vehicle, it will rinse off perfect every single time. So, so I'm not worried at all, zero. So let me rinse this back portion off. So I don't know if you want to show them, Chris, but as soon as I start rinsing, it will like reactivate the suds and it will just fall off the car. So. Now, another thing I will say, I don't know if you guys noticed, but before I started doing this, any of this processes, when I rinsed it the first time, it was almost beading water. That's because I use detail spray as a drying aid, but the clay mitt removes any of that detail spray. So that's why it's nice and flat now. Okay, that's because there's no detail spray on here anymore. So, and actually the surface of the car, you guys can't, I wish you could reach through the camera and feel it, but this is now perfectly smooth now. It feels incredible. And that was I could feel a ton of bumps on here when I started, but just with the clay mitt, I removed all that bond and contamination. So rinse it off, okay? Now I'm gonna switch to, put this in my coin pocket, switch to the rinse aid diluted into the foam cannon. Now because I diluted it into the canister, I dialed it, instead of dialing it back, I'm just gonna dial it all the way up because I already did the work of diluting it. I don't need the straw to do that anymore. So now the way that we do this is we spray this onto the part that I just rinsed, okay? So it's like this. So you can see how milky it is as it goes on. Like so. Okay, so now because I'm in the direct sunlight and it's a pretty hot day, I want to rinse this off within like 10 to 15 seconds. And actually, I don't know if you guys can see, but it already made it hydrophobic the moment it touched the car. So now I don't know if you want to zoom in, Chris, to see this, but now what you're going to see is the change. So that's how simple rinse aid is to use. So as we compare and contrast rinse aid with H2O garden gloss, the rinse aid is a very, very easy delivery method. It's not a lot of stress on my body, zero. All I had to do was switch from a pressure washer to a foam cannon, spray it on there, rinse it off. Okay, so you can see how the hydrophobic properties are so good with rinse aid by just spraying it onto a wet car and rinsing it off. Now, the way that rinse aid and H2O garden gloss can be compared together, similar property, is you need a wet car to use these products, okay? Now, the way you deliver them is much different, and I'll talk about that as I get to the H2O garden gloss. But now what I want you to see is I'm gonna do this door here, okay? I'll rinse this off, and I want you to see how I use it with the rinse aid diluted into a spray bottle. Make sure this works. Okay. This was actually Eco APC. I cleaned this bottle out thoroughly before I started using this. So, and just FYI, the way I like to clean these out is like, there was only this much left of Eco APC. I just dumped it out, and then, like, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but if I take this sprayer out, there's still product inside of the straw. So I'll aim it away from the car and I'll pull this to the point where it doesn't spray anymore to get the product out of the straw. Then when I rinse this out, I'll fill it up halfway with water, put the straw back in, make sure to spray clean water out of it before I change out my products. If that makes any sense. That's just that was one thing I learned from Adam, because I did one time, like, I thought I emptied the product out of the bottle and I put water in it and then I just sucked the straw in, and my first spray was like whatever product existed before already in the spray. So you got to make sure and get the product out of the straw first. So we'll rinse this off now. And actually what you're going to be able to see is this is what we started with. After we did the rinse aid with the foam cannon, you can very much see a difference in the surface behavior between the two already. See that? That's amazing. Before and after. Don't you love it, Chris? Okay, so the way you use rinse aid by diluting it into a spray bottle is now the car is wet. So now what I do is I take my rinse aid, diluted, and now I just spray it onto the car like this, trying to cover all the areas. And actually, right when it hits the flat water, or it doesn't matter, it might be beading already because you have a ceramic coating on, it instantly changes the surface. So it's like almost hydrophobic already, right? Spray this on a little bit more. Again, we're gonna wait about 10 to 15 seconds. I don't know, maybe even a little bit less. I don't count, it's like a feel thing for me. And this is a time when your buddy's there helping you wash, you get to like make fun of him for how bad he's at washing because he doesn't know how to use out his polishes, you know? So now we rinse this off. If I let it dry for too long, it will get, you'll see it after I dry it off, or rinse it off. So spray it. Oh my gosh, dude. This product is so amazing. So good. Now, I will say this. The reason why we call it rinse aid is because when the water is hydrophobic like this, there's less water on the car when you're done rinsing it. So if there's less water on the car, it means less water goes into your drying towel, which means your drying towel can actually dry a whole car without being oversaturated with water, if that makes sense.
Do you know if rinse aid is available in gallons?
Rinse aid is not available in gallons. I don't think, but I'm pretty sure it's not available in gallons. The reason being is it's so concentrated that you dilute it so much that it's almost like one 60-ounce bottle almost performs like a gallon because you only use like 2 to 3 ounces. So, you know, let's say you're only using 2 ounces and you're putting it into a 16-ounce bottle, then you would get 8 bottles out of it. 8 16-ounce bottles equals 1 gallon. Essentially, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But
and so that's 8 washes essentially.
Yeah, it's like 8 times you get to use it. You probably don't even go through a whole 16 ounce when you dilute it into that. So yeah. The rinse aid's only gonna last a couple months, probably 2 to 3 months. But you know, I'll say this: like if you wash your car every week, let's say it. I know there's some, like I think Chester washes his car like 3 times a week, right? But I think if you're on here watching, you probably care for your car more often than most people. And so I would say like every 3rd wash that you wash your car, so on the 3rd week of your washing routine, if you use this, then it will stay protected forever because you never get to a point where it goes away and then you have to reapply it. So every like 2, 3, or 4th wash, I think it's a good, if you're using this as a standalone protection agent, every 3rd or 4th wash maybe would be better, and you'll constantly keep your car protected like this. And that you saw I didn't need to do this big drawn out polishing process to apply a ceramic coating. It was just boom, put it on there, you know.
How does that compare to H2O garden glass?
The rinse aid?
Yeah, the durability.
Durability, I would say the H2O garden gloss lasts a little bit longer. I'd almost give it more like 4 to 5 months on the H2O garden gloss.
And Chester washes once a week.
Yeah, Chester washes once a week. Okay. So now I'm going to show you my secret way on how to use rinse aid. Right. I'll probably just stop at the mirror. So I have like enough surface area over here to work with on the H2O garden gloss. Okay. So again, so the 3rd way and the secret way is I just put a sprayer onto the rinse aid bottle. Okay. You guys are going to think I'm crazy, by the way. Okay. So
you already do.
Yeah. I already do. So rinse the soap off. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is And I'm going to use the rinse aid with the sprayer on it at the same time as I spray. So what I would have been doing is I would rinse the soap off like this, and right after I rinse the soap off, now I'm going to pull the trigger of the pressure washer and I'm going to spray into the stream of the pressure washer. Not onto the car, but into the stream. So watch this, ready? So you see the stream hitting the pressure or hitting the car? So I spray it like this, and now you can see that the rinse aid is hitting the car and the surface changes immediately. And you can actually see the milkiness of the product going on. Okay, then I stop spraying and I just keep rinsing. And now the surface is hydrophobic.
So, and this is just a me question. Could you theoretically spray your car with using car shampoo with the lube, and then just while you're rinsing the car shampoo off, have the rinse aid in your other hand and be spraying it?
So Chris had a question, is like, if I did the clay mitt process and then while I'm rinsing the soap off, I use rinse aid at the same time. The answer is no. And the reason being is that because the soap is on the car, there's surfactants on there. So the surfactants are there to incorporate with whatever it touches and then take it off the car with the water. So what I don't want to do is have the soap grab onto the rinse aid and then take it off of the car. I want the water on the car without any surfactant to go on the car.
I guess more of what I meant was like, you have the pressure washer in one hand, you have rinse aid in the other hand, and you completely wash the soap off. And then once you've completely washed the soap
as long as you rinse the soap, and I'll be honest, what I just showed you guys, this technique that I did where I spray into the pressure washer, this is my favorite because I think it's the easiest way to manage not getting water spots while you use this product. And so I'll just show you really fast kind of why I like my method a little bit better. I like my method. I also like it because it's easier. I am not a dilution person. Like, I don't dilute anything that I use with car care.
Fewer steps.
What's that?
It's fewer steps in the process.
Yeah, kind of, but like I didn't go to school for math. I went to school for a creative profession. So like I'm not into, like, if you're into diluting stuff and doing all that, please do that. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I'm thinking about golf and my kids and my wife. I'm not thinking about the dilution ratio of my products. So I think what I will show you is like, yeah.
But doesn't have the budget for a ceramic coating.
Who asked that?
Dave?
Dave, 1,000%, not even a question.
Repeat the question.
Dave said, would this be a good product option for maybe a client that wants like hydrophobic protection without going through the process and cost of a ceramic coating? And the answer is 1,000%. You know, but I will say this, like, what comes with a ceramic coating that really the customer is paying for is your paint correction process. So like, if the customer wants their car with no scratches and hydrophobic, they kind of need to get a ceramic coating. But if you're just washing their car and they're happy with how it looks currently, then yes, absolutely. If it's not hydrophobic, rinse aid is the easiest way, one of the easiest ways. I would say rinse aid and H2O Garden Gloss is one of the easiest ways to add hydrophobic protection with small effort, you know? And I think like that's something we need to think about too, is like, we have products like H2O Garden Gloss and rinse aid that are very, very low effort with a very, very high reward, you know? But with that comes a longevity thing, that the longevity is reduced, right? So with a ceramic coating, it might be high effort with a very, very much higher reward, but the protection is going to last in years, not in months, right? So, but I will say this, if your client, like, if you have a client that you're mainly doing like an exterior and interior clean, right? You wash their car and then you do the interior, but they want this hydrophobic effect and they're coming back to you consistently, like at once a month you're there to do a wash on their car. Rinse aid that thing. And I'll say this, not only for the client, but for yourself, Dave, because it makes cleaning the car 1,000 times easier. And if anything, when it is hydrophobic, you get more dirt and grime off of the car when you're washing it because it's hydrophobic. So there's less dirt on the car, so there's less wash and do scratches. Okay, so it it has a big benefit for many different reasons, but efficiency and hydrophobic protection to me is like one of the biggest benefits to this with such a low effort. So like what Chris was saying is like if there's soap on the car like this, and like what I wouldn't recommend is like spraying this on here with soap on there and then rinsing it off, because the soap's going to take the product with it. So whether you're spraying it like this or whether you're spraying it like with my method, either one of the spray is good. Okay, and reason being is that if you're not using deionized water, as soon as you spray the water on here, you have a chance of getting water spots, especially on a day like today where it's drying really fast. So what you can do, and I've done this many times, is I will rinse off one section, then I'll go like this with the rinse aid, spray it. So you can see I still have soap on the other portions of the car. Okay, use rinse aid, wait a few seconds. Rinse it off. Okay, hydrophobic protection. And then what I would do is I would take a drying towel and I would dry this off.
I actually just asked that if you're using rinse aid, once you've applied the rinse aid, do you just towel dry it off with detail spray?
Yeah, like you can use detail spray, but I would just dry this off immediately. Like I think the rinse aid is providing, maybe, I don't know, I would probably still use detail spray. Let's just do it so Chester can see it. So right now, if I was using hard water, I'd be like pressed for time to get this water off of here so I don't get water spots. So like I could just take detail spray and just mist this on here. Don't need a lot, just like a little bit like that. I could take a drying towel. This one's very wet, so it might not work very well. And then dry the car off.
And Dan just made the point that just make sure you rinse aid completely before you start drawing.
Definitely. So now I have clean, protected, and dried off that section of the car. Okay. So now like I know that like the hard water mixed with the soap is not going to create water spots over here, right? This is more safe than having the water. So I got the water off of the car. You should feel this, Chris. This is incredible.
Is it really hot?
No, it's like,
oh, it's smooth.
What does it feel like?
Very smooth car.
This car's hammered, by the way. It needs to be polished so bad.
I was noticing earlier, it's so many swirls.
Yep. If you guys want to see paint correction on a red car, I can do that next week. We've got the perfect car right here. So now what I would do is then, so I'll do it this way now, is then I would move on to the next section, right? So I could also flip my sprayer 90 degrees like this. So instead of it spraying vertical like this, I could flip it so it sprays horizontal like that. And then I can just wash or rinse from the top like this. In another section like so. And then take my rinse aid, spray it into the stream like that, let it sit for a second, and then rinse it off. And I'm trying to avoid, like I got a little bit over here, but I'm trying to avoid getting a ton of water on this side. I could go this way, rinse it, and then, I mean, realistically, I'd probably just have this over my shoulder. whoosh, like that, and then detail spray. Spray a little bit right here. Take my drying towel.
Andrew has a process question for you.
Yeah.
For order of operations. Andrew says, "Hello, Adams. Can we wash the car with this method? Step 1, no pre-wash, only pressure washer. Fully pressure wash the car. 2, wash the rims and the body with foam, and then 3, finishing with water and dry the car." I think he's asking if you can foam down and rinse the wheels at the same time as the paint.
Yeah, so if you're asking if you can foam down the wheels and clean the wheels and then like wash the car all at the same time, I would say you can, but it's not going to be like overly effective. So our car shampoos are more designed for getting dirt and grime off of the painted surfaces, but they're not heavy duty enough to really like clean wheels very well, right? So like to make it more efficient, yes, you could do that, but I think the quality of the clean of the wheels isn't going to be, it might be up to your standard. I don't know. It's totally up to you. I would definitely try it, you know? I would almost say like a better option for doing that process would be to use our strip wash instead of our standard car shampoo. But, you know, I think to do it thoroughly, you know, I would recommend cleaning each wheel and tire first with either our wheel cleaner or wheel and tire cleaner, and then get into washing the car. So, but I think like just like rinsing the car first is totally fine. You don't necessarily need to foam it first and then rinse it off and then foam again. You know, I think standard what we're doing is like rinsing the car off, starting in the shaded side first, moving to the sunny side. After you rinse the car off, after you've cleaned each wheel and tire, then foam the car to neutralize the water and create lubrication, and then go through the washing process. So I think it's something to explore, especially if you're a professional detailer, to make the process more efficient. But, you know, I think as far as, well, just for an example, I didn't clean these wheels and tires with wheel and tire cleaner. I just foamed them with soap yesterday and rinsed them off, and you can see how dirty they still are. Wheels and tires just get a different kind of dirty. Like wheels have brake dust all over them. Your tires have tire blooming and old tire dressing, and any form of car soap isn't going to help fix that or clean that the right way. So, you know, I think if you're pressed for time, then you could try to do it pretty quick. But like, if you're going to do the process to do it thoroughly, then I would still recommend clean each wheel and tire by themselves, each one, and then go into the washing process.
Another question?
Yeah, I'll take another question.
Anton says, "What are your thoughts on garden gloss versus graphene boost on a coated car?"
What are my thoughts on H2O Garden Gloss versus graphene boost on a coated car? I will say that the graphene boost has the highest concentration level of hydrophobic protection. So, you know, I would probably say like graphene boost hands down is the best maintenance product to put on a ceramic coated vehicle. And I think that process is so easy, especially like if you have it inside in the shade. You know, but I think the difference between boost and H2O Garden Gloss is that H2O Garden Gloss also makes the car very shiny, all the while drying it and protecting it at the same time. So H2O Garden Gloss sometimes can be like, people like see their car and they're like, oh my gosh, like it like has almost like a shiny texture to it that you can't get from a very thin graphene boost spray and wipe type of product. So, you know, I would say like,
and it's a different application.
it's a different application, and I think that's part of like what I'm going to show you here next when I go into the H2O Garden Gloss is like H2O Garden Gloss is a very efficient process because you're actually going through and you're drying the car and protecting it at the same exact time. That's what makes that product so unique. Whereas like, and that's a contrast from Rinse Aid to H2O Garden Gloss is like Rinse Aid, even though I apply the protection on a wet car, which H2O Garden Gloss does too, I still have to go through the full drying process of getting a drying towel and using a drying aid. Whereas H2O Garden Gloss, I don't need to do that. So while I'm adding protection, I'm also doing another step at the same exact time. So it makes everything more efficient altogether. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Hold tight for 1 second. I just need to grab just a couple things. Okay. The two things I had to grab were two borderless gray towels. I'll give you a little backstory on the borderless gray towels. Chris, what color is H2O garden gloss?
Gray.
What color are the borderless towels?
Gray.
So when we launched the borderless gray towels, they were to be paired with H2O garden gloss. That's why they're gray. Because at a certain point in Adams Polish's history, we wanted every applicator to be the same color as the thing you're applying. And so, like, if you notice our polishing system, the blue compound is paired with the blue foam pad and the blue and a white microfiber pad. The white polish is paired with the white foam pad, okay? Our blue hex grip applicator is paired with our blue hand polish. Our orange hex grip applicator is paired with our orange scratch and swirl remover. So like we were trying to keep everything like color coordinated. And FYI, we have wheel cleaning tools and what color are these bristles, Chris?
Red.
These are red, okay? Dan Tiger, who's on here as Adams Polishes on the live in the comments, can support what I'm about to say, but our wheel cleaner, before it became what it is today, was red. And that's why these bristles are red. It was called Deep Wheel Cleaner, and it was kind of reddish pink color. So like our OG wheel cleaning brushes were kind of like a pinkish maroon bristle. I have that still at my house. And that was to be paired with the wheel cleaner. And we actually, our tire scrub brush, which is now red and black bristles together, used to be blue bristles because when you would scrub the tires, we had a blue product that you would scrub the tires with. So it's kind of weird like how everything's evolved, but like everything we've always tried to color code to make it just that much easier for the people using it. And so the reason why we have borderless gray towels is because the H2O garden gloss was gray, but then what happened is our original graphene line was also silver. So that's why you get borderless gray towels like with our spray coating kit, is because when we first launched it, it was with a silver label of spray coating, and these looked good with it. So yeah, little bit of backstory, I would say. So when it comes to using H2O garden gloss, okay, I'm gonna set this in my pocket. You're gonna take one towel and you're gonna put it in your pocket, or it's a little bit breezy today, so I'm not gonna do it, but oftentimes I just like throw it over my shoulder. But today, I'm just gonna set it in my pocket so it doesn't blow off of my shoulder and hit the ground, in which I have to go grab a brand new towel. Now, I highly recommend taking the nozzle off of the foam gun before you do this, okay?
Off the snub nose.
Off the snub nose. So you have water coming out like that. So what you do is the towel that's not in my pocket, I get wet, okay? I get this all wet.
And this process is specifically H2O garden
This
gloss,
is process.
not other
Yep.
graphene boost.
This is proprietary, if that's the right word, to H2O garden gloss. There's not another product that you would use this process for, okay? So after I get it sopping wet, then I'm going to wring this out as much as I can.
Someone earlier asked which pressure washer we're using right now, and I totally forgot to ask you.
Oh, the pressure washer we're using right now is the Adams Polish's Pro Grade Pressure Washer 2.0. It's the newest Pro Grade pressure washer that we sell. It looks like a bomb, kind of. I call it, this pressure washer is the bomb, you know, because it looks weird. It's definitely different. Like traditional pressure washers, they have like a cylinder type of the way the motor looks.
Yeah.
And normally they like sit flat. Like our old pressure washer, Pro Grade pressure washer 1.0 sat flat like this in like a metal cage. This one, they just flipped it like this. So it looks kind of weird, but it actually saves in space. And we were able to add a few features to it that make it like super unique. So I have my damp towel now. Okay, it's not like dripping, sopping wet. I wrung it out as much as I can. So now I have my H2O garden gloss over here, and again, this whole portion of the car has soap on it, dried soap. So now I'll put my nozzle back on. Point it away from the car when you pull it so it doesn't shoot out and dent the car. Now I'm gonna rinse. Again, I think with H2O Garden Gloss, it gives me a chance to manage water spots because I can work in sections versus like just rinsing the whole car. So the way I would use H2O Garden Gloss, which over here, there's already rinse aid. Okay, so this is already like pretty hydrophobic here. But as I come over here and rinse this portion, shouldn't be as pronounced. H2O Garden Gloss is used like this, okay? Now I'm gonna show you this. I don't know if you guys can see this. I got rinse aid that dried on the car. So it's like really streaky right here. And I'm like even moving it around with my hand. So that's the downfall of rinse aid drying completely on the car. Can you see that, Chris?
So that's why you rinse it.
Yeah, that's why you only, like in a really hot day, you wait 5 seconds. In an overcast day, you wait 15 seconds, you know? So I'm just gonna take soap and use the backside of the what's this thing called, Chris? Clay mitt. To try to.
Why the back side and not the front side?
Because I'm not trying to clay it off. I'm just trying to wash it off. But here you go.
To get those spots off.
I'll use the other side of the clay mitt. I want to try to remove some of the protection so it is flat before we start. You know what I mean? And I'm not even sure if the clay mitt would touch the rinse aid, but we're about to find out. So this will give you a good idea if a clay mitt removes rinse aid. Let's rinse this off now. It kind of does, huh?
Definitely a difference between that and the photo.
Not really. See, it's like coming back here. Once the soap comes off, it comes back. So the clay mitt where I actually did a rinse aid the clay mitt didn't do anything to it at all.
Okay.
But over
yeah.
here I hadn't necessarily.
Forgot we had stuff.
Yeah.
My bad.
And especially like the hood. See that? I did put graphene boost over here though. So that's why it's beating water like really, really good. That's the graphene boost up there. By the way, this car has every freaking thing on it. It's like ridiculous. Okay, so H2O Garden Gloss. You want a wet car. Okay, so what you do is in your damp towel, you spray, I don't know, give it like 4 sprays. And then on the wet car, you spray H2O Garden Gloss just in little sections. You don't need a lot. Less is more. Then you take the damp towel where you sprayed the H2O Garden Gloss on, and now we rub this into the surface as if we're like applying it. Like this. And what's going to happen is you're going to pick up a lot of water while you do this. So as you pick up water, you just take your H2O Garden Gloss towel and then you wring it out. Okay, so we're taking water off of the car into the towel, wring it out onto the ground. And this is still the side that I had the H2O Garden Gloss on. So just wipe this a little bit more. So you can see it's not completely dry. That's why you have the second towel like this. And now I take this and I even out all the H2O Garden Gloss that I just rubbed into the surface. Like so. And I dried and protected the car all at the same time. Okay. Now if Chris feels this, like he felt rinse aid before, and this feels that much more slick.
Definitely.
And I think the thing for me is like as I stand here and look at the car, the gloss factor to it is like exponentially, not exponentially, but to me it looks better than what the rinse aid provided. it's very similar, but it's like the thickness, because H2O Garden Gloss is a much thicker product. So it's putting a thicker layer of sealant and SiO2 protection on top. So it gives it first off, a slickness as well as like a glossiness to it. A depth, I would say, is a good way to put it. So yeah, so like H2O Garden Gloss, right? So like let's see. Should we see what the surface does now?
Yep.
Because it was flat, right?
Very.
Yeah, it was flat. So let's spray this on here. It's almost like the car's ceramic coated.
Nice.
Does that look great or what?
Way better.
So, after showing you guys how you use H2O Garden Gloss, as you can see, H2O Garden Gloss and Rinse-Aid are very comparable as far as the longevity of protection, the type of protection they offer the car, so hydrophobic protection. But with Rinse-Aid, after I apply Rinse-Aid to the whole car, I still need to dry the whole car with a whole second step. So like in the process of washing, where you rinse the car first, you foam it, then you wash it with a wash mitt in car soap, and then you rinse it off. Then Rinse-Aid adds another step. So you apply Rinse-Aid after, then you have to rinse it off again, and then you have to dry it after that. So like it adds a couple extra steps, right? Whereas H2O Garden Gloss is rinse the car first, foam it, use the wash mitt on it, okay? Then rinse the soap off of the car, and now H2O Garden Gloss dries and protects it all in one step at the end. So it's almost like 3 steps less than using Rinse-Aid. So in that instance, it is more efficient as far as like the full process, but it's a little bit more taxing on my body. I have to go through and apply this to the whole car. So like I'm maybe not be able to go around the car as fast as I would if I just dried it with a towel, but drying it with H2O Garden Gloss and a regular towel with detail spray as a drying aid, still very similar, right? So for me, like I love Rinse-Aid and the delivery method, but I tend to opt for H2O Garden Gloss more because I get to make my process more efficient. And I think especially like when I do this in the winter, I use H2O Garden Gloss in the winter like crazy, because my car, I have applied the graphene ceramic spray coating advanced already, but to like boost it in the winter, I do H2O Garden Gloss, because when I catch a day where it's 50 degrees outside, then even though it's still pretty cold, call it even 45 degrees, even though it's still pretty cold, I can kind of do 2 things at once to make my process more efficient, so I'm not out in the cold weather hanging out, you know?
Your dad wants to know if using H2O Garden Gloss will make ceramic coating last longer.
Say that again?
Your dad wants to know if H2O Garden Gloss will make your ceramic coating last longer.
Oh, that's a good question. Well, hey, Pop. So my dad asked, well, using H2O Garden Gloss on a ceramic coated vehicle, will it help make the ceramic coating last longer? And the answer is yes. The reason being is that you're constantly supporting the ceramic coating that's on the car already. So as you know, it's like having clear coat of ceramic coating, and then now you're putting H2O Garden Gloss on top. That's just creating a whole nother barrier for your ceramic coating. So it will help it last longer, but like not in the way you would think. You know, like really what it's doing is it's help getting more dirt and grime off of the car. And then when you're washing on top of H2O Garden Gloss versus ceramic coating. So you're not abrading away the ceramic coating every time you wash. You're working with H2O Garden Gloss with it. So, but realistically, like the goal here, excuse me, the goal here is hydrophobic protection. It doesn't matter, Rinse-Aid, H2O Garden Gloss, ceramic coating. When your car is hydrophobic, let's say that this car was dirty. When you rinse it off like this, it pushes more water off the car with more dirt and grime. And so when you wash it, you're not rubbing dirt and grime in the car as much. So it reduces scratching in that sense. It's also a slicker surface area, so your wash pad with the soap glides better. So anytime your wash pad or your towels are not gliding and they're grabbing, that has a chance to scratch the car. It doesn't matter the quality of towel you use, right? So having an extremely slick surface like H2O Garden Gloss provides, Rinse Aid provides, it creates an environment where your overall process from washing the car to drying it to wiping it down with like a quick detailer like detail spray reduces the chance for scratching because of the properties it provides on the car. So I don't know if that makes really any sense, but like that's a huge reason why when you see in car care, when people go like, oh, this car's not protected because it's flat, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not. And actually, it's going to be worse to wash your car because there'll be more water and dirt on the car when you do it, you know? So there's like more to it than just it's flat or it's water beading, you know? But any questions around Rinse Aid or H2O Garden Gloss?
Chester wants to know if he can use garden gloss every wash.
Can you use Garden Gloss every wash? You can, but I don't recommend it. The reason being is that H2O Garden Gloss is a much more thick product. Like, here, watch this. I'll just show you how thick it is. I'll just pour a little bit out on here. That's how thick it is. It's like, how would you just, it's like almost like non-Greek Dannon yogurt. Is that what it looks like, Chris?
Sure.
You see that? Okay, so or kind of like a watery lotion almost.
Yeah.
And so because it's extremely thick, if you use it every wash, it will actually build up on your car and you'll start to notice it. So you don't want to use it every wash, but I think like the thing about it is like it's sort of unnecessary to use it every wash, because it does last a few months. And with Chester washing his car every week, you know, on the third or fourth week of when he's washing his cars, if he does the H2O Garden Gloss, he'll keep his car protected, but he didn't necessarily need to apply H2O Garden Gloss every single time. You know,
kind of a waste almost.
It's kind of a waste. It's not really a waste for Chester because he loves doing this, so it's like enjoyable for him. But it's a waste in the sense that like it's not going to benefit the H2O Garden Gloss protection by doing it every single week. You know, it's actually, I would say it's better to do it every third or fourth wash. No, I will say, let's say that today we did Rinse Aid or H2O Garden Gloss on this whole car. For like we did that today, okay? It's Wednesday, right? The next time I go back to wash my car, let me grab one thing. I think it's right inside here. I just want to grab a fresh drying towel. So I'm just going to show you this really fast, okay? So I have my Ultra Plus drying towel right here. So do you want me to foam the car, Chris?
No, I think it's fine.
Doesn't matter. So let's pretend there's foam on the car. So now we rinse the car off. So we said we applied H2O Garden Gloss today. Let's say next week on Wednesday, I wash my car again. So like I told Chester, he doesn't need to use H2O Garden Gloss every time or rinse it, okay? Now I'm 1 week later in the washing my car for a second time, okay? During this process, instead of using H2O Garden Gloss or Rinse Aid, all I would do is grab my trusty detail spray and I mist it onto the wet car like this. And if you notice, I'm not spraying it on like this, right? I'm just like misting it while I move my hand. I just want like a fine mist of it onto the car, okay? And then what I do is I take my drying towel, which I have the Ultra Plush, which is my favorite, not even a question. Reason being is it's two-sided. So you can see like it's almost like I call it this like the fiber side, okay? And then this side is like a finishing side. And so what I like to do is fold the towel onto the fiber side because I want the water to go through the finishing side and the water get held in all of these fibers. So I fold it once and then I fold it again. And I like folding my drying towels a couple times, so it's like this. Now, the first thing I dry is the glass because the glass can be the most streaky out of everything. It's the most noticeable when it's streaky. So watch this. One swipe there and back, it will be dry. So it's like this. Boom, boom. Okay? I do the glass like this. Okay, the mirror. And any gloss black that you have, like that. So now, and actually the rinse aid dried too fast on here. That's cool. So now after I do that, then I just take the towel and now I go, after I've done all the glass, and I go and I dry the whole rest of the car. And then ideally what I want is an air cannon to then blow water out of the handles, the mirrors, all the other stuff so it doesn't keep leaking out and give me the water spot chalk lines that run underneath. Like this. So as you can see right now, just because H2O Garden Gloss and Rinse Aid were on this car, there was less water on the car when I went to dry it because it's hydrophobic, so the water falls off and goes onto the ground. Feel this, Chris. Is this like overloaded with?
No.
It's still like damp, but like I could still keep going. So I just dried a whole half of a car with my towel because the hydrophobic properties are giving me, there's less water on the car. So I'm not having to take off as much water from the car. And go ahead and feel it, Chris. Does it feel any different when using detail spray or from using Rinse Aid or H2O Garden Gloss? Still very slick,
Yeah,
right?
still very smooth.
So just by using detail spray or washing and that kind of stuff, it's not going to degrade the protection that we put on here with H2O Garden Gloss or Rinse Aid, but it makes your drying process with detail spray more efficient. That's why it's called Rinse Aid, right? Also, the H2O Garden Gloss has the same properties of protection. And so now my drying towel can go a longer way. I can dry the whole car. Now my drying process is more efficient. So I said the first week we applied H2O Garden Gloss or Rinse Aid, whatever you prefer. The next week we go to wash our car. We wash it, then we just dry it with detail spray as a drying aid. Then the next week, which would be the third week, I'd repeat that again. I'd wash the car and then use detail spray in my drying towel to dry the car. Then the fourth week, I would, instead of using detail spray in my drying towel, I would do H2O Garden Gloss or I would do Rinse Aid on the fourth week of my washing routine. So yeah, it's like, again, I think for like myself, we did a big detail clinic this last weekend. There's quite a few people here. There's a bunch of people here. And watching that, it's on our YouTube channel right now. But like I told them, I think of our product line as a bunch of tools in a big tool chest or a tool cabinet, right? So like to really like dry the car and avoid getting water spots, I use a drying towel and a detail spray. Those are my tools for that time, right? Now, if I want to dry the car, or if I want to wash and before I dry, or if I want to wash and while I dry the car and add protection all at the same time, Rinse Aid and H2O Garden Gloss is my tool for that. You know, it's H2O Garden Gloss with 2 borderless gray towels. Those are my tools for that job that week. You know, so it's like you're kind of doing a very similar processes all the time, but then you supplement or trade out different products and applicators or towels to do like a different job to like make it more efficient. So I don't know, I hope that demonstration of Rinse Aid kind of working this way to getting to H2O Garden Gloss over here was like a good enough visual and explanation as to how they're similar but different. So, you know, similarities, they provide very similar types of protection, meaning hydrophobic protection that are not ceramic coating. And the other similarity is you need a wet car to apply them to, right? Uh, the another similarity is you should, not every time, but you should feel the surface of your car before you apply it. So if it feels bumpy, you should use the clay mitt before you apply these. It's going to make them perform better. Now, differences. Number one, rinse aid is a delivery method either out of a foam cannon or out of a spray bottle that's been diluted, with rinse aid being diluted. So you rinse the car off. The car is wet, which is similar to H2O garden gloss, but you spray it on the car, wait for a few seconds, then rinse it off. Okay. Another difference is rinse aid, unlike H2O garden gloss, does not combine steps. It actually adds an extra step, an extra 2 steps to your full washing process. And so, rinse aid, although it will make your drying process more efficient over time, it's not actually efficient when you're applying it. Whereas H2O garden gloss, the difference between that and rinse aid is that you're drying the car while you're applying the H2O garden gloss all at the same time. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of the compare and contrast with H2O garden gloss. And I would say like Trevor was on here. I don't know if he still is, but Trevor was on here, and he works on semi trucks, and he said he uses rinse aid on his semi trucks. Now I would say for a really big vehicle, rinse aid is a better option because you can cover a larger surface area and you don't need a step stool or a ladder or anything to do H2O. Like you'd have to use a step stool or ladder to do a big, huge car or a semi truck to apply H2O garden gloss. So like rinse aid for him on a semi truck is a better option, you know, whereas on a car like an SUV or crossover, or maybe a truck like an F-150 or a Tacoma, H2O garden gloss is a pretty good product to use on that. The last thing I do want to show you, if Chris can catch it in the right light, I think like from right here is a good spot, but I waited too long for rinse aid before I rinsed it off, so you can see the high spots of rinse aid on the car. He's trying to figure out how to get the angle of it.
Where on the pane of glass are you looking at?
It's like it's like from here and it stops like right here. It's mainly like right in this section right here. What I want to show you, if Chris can get that angle of it, and if you guys can see it.
It's like right here.
Yep, exactly. So let's say that you apply rinse aid to the whole car and then you dry it all off with a drying towel, and you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, what is this? This is like the rinse aid dried on the car. Just take detail spray. You can see it in the reflection. Detail spray. You give it one mist, okay? And you take a fresh plush towel like this and long, fast swipes side to side or up and down like that. And essentially what detail spray does is it rehydrates the rinse aid. It makes it easy to wipe off, and now it's like perfect. Okay, so oftentimes, even after I've used rinse aid or H2O garden gloss, after I feel like I'm done, I will do something called a sun check. Although you guys might hate me for this, but I also I don't pull my car inside when I dry it or anything. I just don't have room right now. You can ask my dad why. It's because my garage is like, I look like a hoarder right now. But I'll do a sun check. So my car's parked out in my driveway, and I'll go around the whole car and look to see if there's any high spots. And I just take the detail spray in my pocket like this, and I walk through, and if I see like a high spot, I'll try to like wipe it. And if it doesn't come off, then I'll just give a quick spray of detail spray, and then I'll even it out. So.
And really, detail spray is good if you have streakiness left over from pretty much any of our other products.
Yeah, right? Detail spray is just
graphene boost, CS3, any kind of streaks.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point, Chris, too. Yeah, like if you're applying, even if you're applying like graphene boost, like sometimes you'll get high spots because that's a highly concentrated product. You know, I'll even just take the graphene boost, find a high spot, give it a miss, and wipe it immediately, and then we'll fix it. You know, so detail spray is a good option for that too, but anytime you re-wet it and then wipe it away by using long, fast swipes it tends to break it down and fix it to make it look better. So yeah, if you were using rinse aid, you know, I mean, we've had some feedback like that where someone's using rinse aid and they're like, it made my car all streaky. And it's like, yeah, I can do that, especially when you're like using it in a hot day, direct sunlight, because it evaporates the water too fast where it's mixed in with the rinse aid. The water evaporates or vacates too fast, and then the protection dries on the surface. And then at that point, you're just kind of moving it around. So then when you re-wet it and wipe it really fast, it breaks the product down and evens it out and makes it look good. So, and that doesn't mean that like my detail spray doing that on here didn't remove the rinse aid. It just leveled it off so it's not streaky. So, think that's good?
Yep.
All right.
So.
Well, I keep touching this car because it's never felt like this ever, probably. This is the smoothest this car has ever felt. And, you know, again, like when your car feels like this, the paint's hydrated. It's a less surface tension on the surface, so water's not going to stick to it. It's going to make claying the car easier next time. Just like everything from this point on, after the work we did with rinse aid and H2O Garden Gloss, is so much easier. So if I own this car, you know, it's this Wednesday, so another Wednesday, and another Wednesday, I would do this process over again, and my car would be protected, and I would never have to apply a ceramic coating. Or if I applied a ceramic coating and I wanted to boost it and make it look better and you know, add some value to the ceramic coating that's already on here, I could do either one of these products, rinse aid or H2O Garden Gloss, and it would create a huge benefit to the car. And again, like that kind of sealant, polymer sealant protection, a polymer sealant when it's on the car feels more smooth than any product in car care altogether. Even after you apply a ceramic coating, if you touch it with your hand, it still doesn't feel the same as if rinse aid or H2O Garden Gloss. It's just a different feeling. And I love this feeling. This is like when I was introduced to Adam's polishes in 2012, Adam had paint sealant, which is H2O Garden Gloss is a derivative of that product. This is what cars would feel like after we'd be done working on them. And it brings back memories, but it also brings back a familiar feeling of like what your car should feel like, you know? So yeah, I hope today was helpful. I think this is a cool topic. You know, I think I've been seeing some stuff on Instagram where there's like reels that people go like this or that. And mainly it's like this car or that car. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of feel like that about our line. It's like this or that, rinse aid or H2O Garden Gloss. And I'm like, I don't know, both. It just depends on what you want to do. But I think for me personally, and this is not me telling you what to do, I like H2O Garden Gloss better, but I also have been around that product for a longer time. But I like the fact that it that it makes the drying part more efficient because you're mixing steps together into one, whereas rinse aid's adding a couple extra steps. So that's why I would probably lean towards H2O Garden Gloss, because also the thicker layer of the sealant on the car makes it very shiny. And you know, the whole reason why we do this, everybody watching, including myself, is to make your car shiny. That's the whole purpose of this stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I'm not sure about that topic next week. If anything, we can maybe do some paint correction on this car. Maybe even like talk about the one step. We don't talk about that very much, but maybe we'll do paint correction. But if you guys have suggestions, you know, after this video gets published to YouTube, you can go back in the comments and say, hey, you should do this, you should do that. I'm curious about that. You could also email me topics too. A lot of people have done that before, which is just joe@adamspolishes.com. So you can email me topics. You can send me emails like Chester. I haven't checked my email, but yeah, just hit me up. And I want to make sure we bring value to you guys. Like I already know how to do all this stuff. I want to make sure your guys' you know, questions are answered. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next Wednesday live at 1 o'clock.